Is the Roth IRA a legitimate account to consider when you're saving up for college? Yes, it is. We're rounding out our back to school series reviewing the top 5 accounts to use to save up for college. The Roth IRA, we're going to rank it right now. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, we're rounding out our series on reviewing the top 5 accounts that you can use, that you should consider when you're saving up for college or education for your kids. And for this 5th one, we're thinking outside the bun here, talking about the Roth IRA. The Roth IRA, not the 529 plan. It's the Roth IRA, typically thought of as a retirement account. Why? IRA, individual retirement account. But some strong reasons why you might want to consider this thing for college. Now, we're going to rank the Roth for college in the same manner that we ranked the previous accounts. I'm going to look at tax advantages and financial aid. We're going to look at investment options, use cases, as well as transferability. I'm going to rank it in all those, give it an overall rating. And then, because this is where we're buttoning up the series, I'm going to then compare the rankings of all the accounts so that you can see which accounts likely you'd want to consider in which order when you're saving up for college or education for those kiddos and grandkids. All right, you know how the Roth IRA works. You can open a Roth IRA really wherever you want, as long as your income is below certain limits, and about $195,000, $200,000 for married filing jointly. You can contribute $6,000 per year into this thing. If you're age 50 or older, you can do up to $7,000. You've got to have at least that much in earned income, or your spouse, if you're married filing joint, has to have at least that much in earned income in order to contribute. Once you contribute that money, you can invest it however you want, but then here's the key, okay? As long as you've had a Roth IRA for 5 years, and you're over your age 59 and a half or older, you can withdraw that growth tax-free, okay? But your contributions, you never deducted those in the first place. You can withdraw those contributions whenever you want. You can withdraw that basis out whenever you want, no tax consequence at all. All right, let's get into it. From a tax advantage standpoint for college, I'm going to rank the Roth IRA 3 out of 5. Why? You've got some tax advantages, but not as much tax advantages as the 529 plan, some of these other accounts. So let me tell you how this works to think from a new perspective with the Roth IRA for college, okay? A lot of people, when you're contributing for college, if you've done as much as you can for your 529 plan to get your state benefit, or if you're not sure your kids are going to go to school, something like that, you might use the 529 plan, a Roth IRA as part of your solution. Why? Because you can contribute into this account that's going to grow tax sheltered and tax free for retirement, and then if you need to use some of the money for college, you just draw out your basis. You draw out your contributions from your Roth IRA. You can withdraw those contributions out with no tax consequence at all and use the money for college. So it's not tax-free growth for college, but you can just go in and leave all the growth in there and just withdraw your contributions and use that for college. So there's a tax advantage there. Now, that means you've got less money to grow compound interest. Okay, so you're giving something up from a retirement standpoint, but at least there's not a tax penalty. Speaking of tax penalties, what if you're using a Roth IRA and you say, yeah, I don't want to just take out my contributions for college. I want to take more than that out for college. Well, your contributions, like I said, come out with no tax consequence. If you withdraw the growth and use it for college, for a qualified educational expense, I'll talk about uses in just a second, then there's no penalty. You avoid the 10% tax penalty, but you do have to count that growth as income. Most people say, no, you're probably thinking of the IRA. This is the Roth. There's no tax on the growth. I know there's no tax on the growth if you withdraw it after age 59 and a half. If you withdraw it before age 59 and a half, but it's for college, there's no penalty, but you're going to have to claim that growth as taxable income. Now, in kind of an ideal scenario, well, maybe not ideal. What if you've got a young child that's in college after you're age 59 and a half? Well, you can use a Roth IRA, you can pull the contributions out and the growth out, no tax, and use that for college. That's fantastic because you've reached that age 59 and a half. So all in all, from a tax advantage standpoint, 3 out of 5, I think you should consider whether the Roth IRA makes some sense as part of your educational plan. From a financial aid standpoint, if I can tuck that in under tax advantages, there's some flexibility here. Why? Because it's a retirement asset of the parent, so it really doesn't count in the FAFSA calculation. But withdrawals from a Roth IRA do. And you might even say, well, wait a second, I thought my contribution I can take out whenever. Yes, you can, but that's still going to count against you from an income standpoint for the expected family contribution for FAFSA. What about investment options? 5 out of 5. Your investment options are almost limitless within the Roth. Again, this is it's a retirement account that in your case, you're just looking at it from a college funding perspective. You can invest in whatever mutual fund, whatever individual stock, stock options, whatever. You can invest this thing almost limitless ways to invest the Roth IRA. Uses, I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. Why? Because you can use your contributions to the Roth, you can take them out and you can use it for whatever you want, okay? There's no tax, there's no penalty, all right? The growth, if you're taking the growth out of your Roth IRA, a qualified educational expense means you're going to pay tax on the growth but no penalty. What are the qualified educational expenses? Tuition, fees, yes, but also books and room and board. So it's not as liberal and open as flexible as some accounts, but that's more flexible, more liberal than others. So I'm going to rank it a 4 out of 5 for uses. All right, lastly, transferability. I'm going to rank it a 4 out of 5. There's really no transferability because you don't really have to. You have multiple kids, you've got grandkids, you've got whatever. It's your Roth IRA. You can use it for whichever kid or whatever you want. So from a transferability standpoint, you don't need to. I is for individual. So it's yours. You can't take it and transfer it to your spouse, but you wouldn't need to. You can use, if you're viewing your Roth IRA as partially or in some way part of your educational funding plan, you can use it for your child, for your second child, your third child. You can use your contributions. You can withdraw those contributions tax-free without paying tax on them again for any reason and for anybody. Okay, so from a transferability standpoint, I'd rank it a 4 out of 5 simply because there's really no need to consider transferring it to help another family member, another individual. So all in all, the Roth IRA may not have even been on your radar from a college funding or educational funding standpoint, but all in all, I'm ranking it a 4 out of 5. You've got some tax advantages. You've got the ability for this money to help you with multiple goals. Now, if it's really for retirement and then you try to rate it for college, that could be a negative. But if you're looking and constructing a plan with your certified financial planner who's doing comprehensive financial planning, you can use a 529 plan and cash flow and a Roth IRA as kind of a combo to help with that educational goal while also striving and helping other goals as well. So lots of investment flexibility. You've got some tax advantages as well. You really don't need to transfer the money around. Use it for many options. I'm saying 4 out of 5. All right, so that puts the wraps on our Back to School series, breaking down the 5 most common types of accounts that you can use for college savings. All said and done, you've got to look at your overall goal, number one. If college savings really isn't a big goal of yours, then that's going to influence which account you should consider. If it's a really big goal of yours, but you're not on track for some of your bigger goals, that could influence which account you could use. Your income, whether your income changes, that's going to influence. You're going to want to work with your certified financial planner. This list, this ranking is no substitute for individual comprehensive financial planning that you're going to do with your CFP. But when all said and done, how would I rank these different 5 accounts for college? Number one, sort of the gold standard, 5 out of 5 would be the 529 plan. If you have a goal of helping your kids or grandkids with college, you've got to consider the 529 plan, see if it makes sense. 4 out of 5, so the rank second would be the Roth IRA. Yeah, for most people, this wasn't even on your radar. I think you got to consider it. After that, I would consider the educational savings account, the ESA, the educational IRA, the Coverdell. It goes by all those names, and I would consider that third. Fourth, and really only for you guys that are savers and don't want to take any risk at all and your income's below certain limits, I'd consider savings bonds. Lastly, the UTMA, the custodial account. Those are extremely rare. There's not many situations where I would suggest using these anymore, especially for college. If you say, I'm just gonna set some, $50 aside for my grandchild or my child every birthday, every Christmas, and it's a gift to them where it's their money, they can use it however they want. I just want them to be able to use it at age 18 as opposed to age 8, maybe use an UTMA, okay? But for college, that's where I'd rank it 1 out of 5. I'd rank it bottom on the list. Is that list, does that perfectly apply to you? Are there other options? Should you consider loans, cash flow, something else? Work with your CFP on that. Do you have a CFP? If you do, wonderful. If you don't, you can contact one on my team. You can find us online, corehorn.com. That's Corehorn with a K. wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well. Or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.